Stunning new details revealed in court today as prosecutors continued calling witnesses in day 2 of the trial of a teenager accused of murdering 4 members of his family, including his 3-year-old little brother. Eyewitness News reporter Leslie Rubin joins us now, live here in the studio, with that new information about the moments leading up to and right after the shootings. Leslie.
Dave, no doubt the state's case is going to rely heavily on the testimony today from Gavin Smith's girlfriend at the time of the shootings. Her name is Rebecca Walker. She's in prison right now for helping him hide out after he shot and killed his family. Today, we learned she was encouraging him to go through with it so they could be together.
Rebecca, is it hard for you to be here today?
Yes, it is.
Her voice shaking and sometimes appearing confused by some of the questions she was being asked. 18-year-old Rebecca Walker revealing stunning new details about the day her then-boyfriend Gavin Smith shot and killed his family.
I do want to say that I was not at his house at this time. I was on video chat with him while this was occurring. But I did encourage him by telling him to hurry up and do it.
Telling jurors she was encouraging him to kill them so they could be together, something their parents had forbidden.
Did you see the gun on the camera?
Yes.
And who had the gun in their hand?
Gavin did.
Did he also have a knife?
Yes.
Did Mr. Smith tell you what he was planning on doing with the gun and the knife?
He was planning with the gun. He was planning to kill his mom and his stepdad. But however, I can't exactly recall what was used with every single victim, but I do know that there was a gun and a knife involved with the victims.
Smith's mother, Risa Saunders, his stepfather, Daniel Long, and brothers Gage, who was 12, and Jamison, who was just 3, all shot in the head. The jury shown graphic and disturbing photos from inside the family's home on Cemetery Hill Drive in Elkview. Smith occasionally glanced up at the photos, but showed no emotions as they were on display.
Where did it appear that the 3-year-old was at the time the shot was fired?
It appears that he was under the bed.
She said Smith hid in the woods until it was dark and he snuck inside her grandmother's home in Clendenin, where he spent the night. They knew her grandmother was set to go out of town.
He was having a rough time at home, and he didn't like being told what to do. He didn't like being told, what he could and couldn't do. And that what was including me and him getting to spend time together, which is what me and him both wanted. And that was the reason basically why this happened.
Now, during opening statements yesterday, the defense said this simply was not a first-degree murder case, and they'd work to prove the state doesn't have the evidence to meet the criteria for the capital offense, which includes malice. They had alluded to abuse in the home and said Gavin was forced to be the primary caretaker of his 3-year-old little brother.
The first 3 witnesses in the case were called Monday in the trial of Gavin Smith, 18. Smith was 16 years old when he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder for the shooting deaths of his mother, stepfather, and 2 younger brothers in December 2020. He's also facing charges of use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Daniel Dale Long, 37, Risa Mae Saunders, 39, Gage Ripley, 12, and Jamison Long, 3, all of Elkview, were found dead in their home on Cemetery Hill Drive. They were all shot in the head, according to testimony on Monday. Kanawha County First Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Don Morris called Rebecca Walker as the state's 4th witness on Tuesday. Walker, now 18, was 17 when she was arrested in connection with the case. Walker was Smith's girlfriend at the time of the shootings and is currently serving 10 years in prison after she entered into a plea deal with the state to plead guilty to 4 counts of accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. In exchange for the plea and her cooperation in Smith's prosecution, murder charges were dropped against her. Walker testified she will be up for parole in June 2023. She is currently incarcerated at Lakin Correctional Center. Walker appeared nervous and apprehensive to answer many questions and contended it was difficult for her to testify in the case. Jurors learned that neither Walker or Smith's mother and stepfather approved of their relationship, and they were forbidden from seeing each other, but continued to secretly communicate through text messages and video chats. In December 2020, Walker testified that her grandmother, whose house she was living in at the time, was going out of town, and it gave her and Smith the opportunity to be together. Walker also testified about Smith becoming angry when he was picked up by the sheriff's office after multiple attempts to run away. When asked by Morris if Smith talked about doing anything as a result of that anger, she said he talked about wanting to kill his family. She said she also agreed that this was a way for them to be together.
Maximum time in prison for killing 4 of his family members in Kanawha County in December of 2020.
It was last month. Gavin Smith was found guilty on all charges, including 3 counts of first-degree murder and then 1 count of second-degree murder. As News Channel 3's Emily Bennett reports, during the sentencing hearing, victims' family members asked for the most severe sentence.
Emotion filling the courtroom.
Nothing could prepare me for the sorrow and hurt inflicted on me and my family by this incident.
During Gavin Smith's sentencing hearing,
I believe that Gavin Smith was deliberate in his actions.
Smith was 16 years old in December 2020 when his mother, Risa Saunders, stepfather Daniel Long, and 12 and 3-year-old siblings were found murdered at a home in Elkview. Last month, Smith was tried as an adult, found guilty on all charges, including 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of second-degree murder.
I believe it is in the best interest of our world to have someone who has murdered 4 individuals, including a defenseless baby, not to be considered for parole. Just because he was 16 at the time doesn't make a difference. He still took lives.
Long's parents spoke at the hearing.
He deprived my husband and I of future adventures with our family,
saying they adopted their son Daniel when he was 14 months old.
As a parent, you pray you never have to bury a child or grandchild.
The Longs expressing their grief, feeling robbed of time, now asking for the harshest punishment.
It is my opinion that his sentence should be harsh and severe, served to the maximum allowed by law. Human life is a gift from God, our Creator. He and only He has a right to give life and end it.
Before his sentence, Smith stood and briefly spoke.
I like to apologize for what I did. I do regret this, and if I could, I'd take it back because it's one of my deepest regrets.
After Judge Kenneth Ballard listened to the impact statements, he called the murders a heinous crime.
You murdered your entire family in cold blood, Mr. Smith. I find that you have 0 remorse for your actions.
Sentencing Smith to the harshest penalty the law allows. 3 life sentences with mercy for 3 counts of first-degree murder and 40 years in prison for second-degree murder.
Your actions can only be described as an act of pure evil.
Emily Bennett, WSAZ News Channel 3, Kanawha County.
What do you think about the murder charge? It seems like a guy who was somewhat persuaded by her girlfriend to murder his entire family. Even though she definitely encouraged the outcome, the boyfriend pulled the trigger. As always, I encourage you to search up the story yourself and come up with your own truth. I hope you enjoy the video. You mind leaving a like and subscribing? Thank you.